Hello, my friend, and welcome to Pro Wrestling Daily. My name is Aaron Machbitz. So Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch were on the Something's Burning podcast, and they talked about a number of things, but the most interesting and important thing they talked about, which stood out to me, which I've talked about quite a bit, is the WWE Unreal show, which shows you behind the scenes on Netflix, and Seth Rollins clearly explains why he hates it. So here's the direct quote from Seth Rollins, then we'll talk about it. Seth Rollins says this: I do hate it. I don't hate all of it. I mean, look, there's some parts of it that I think are fascinating and interesting, but there's like some things in our business, everybody knows what it is. Everybody knows that it's predetermined and planned, but the gray area, the one little question, right? Like, maybe they really don't like each other. Yeah, maybe there's something there. Maybe that could happen, that unpredictability that creates that magic. That's where the magic happens in our business, and it's that just little seed of doubt. And when you start to just chip away at it, it becomes a bit tricky. Seth Rollins is absolutely correct here in his assessment, obviously. Seth Rollins is one of the best performers of the last 20 years. Also on this Something's Burning podcast, he talked about his early days in FCW, I believe it was called, in the Warehouse in 2010, then moving up to the main roster in 2012, and sort of that transition and his transition into how he wanted to change the style in WWE. Very, very interesting stuff happening from Seth Rollins on that podcast episode. But this was intriguing because I feel like this is how most of the WWE superstars feel, and I don't even know for sure, for fact, that this whole series was the idea of WWE. Because they signed a deal with Netflix, and Netflix requires through the contract that they produce content. Netflix needs content on their platform. So they know WWE produces a show every Monday, and they need other stuff on their platform to intrigue and draw in the non-wrestling fans that they have on the platform. And so they can't just have wrestling. Yes, that's going to bring the wrestling fans to the platform. Excuse me. But what's going to keep the non-wrestling fans on the platform and them scrolling through Netflix? Because that's all these companies want. They want them to stay on the platform as long as possible, whether it's Netflix or TikTok or Prime or whatever it is. So they're creating content that's going to keep you there. And so if you're interested and maybe you think WWE is fake and you think it's predetermined, you think it's all this, now this fucking series pops up that says Unreal. What's this? It's going to keep that non-wrestling fan on the platform scrolling longer, and probably through contract, WWE has to produce content for Netflix, via whatever the stipulation was on their contract. So they come up with this thing that Netflix probably pitched, and now they have this show that's out into the world called WWE Unreal, and I hate it just as much as Seth Rollins because of his exact points that he makes. Everyone knows it's sports entertainment. Everyone knows it's predetermined. Everyone knows it's planned. Everyone knows what about the fight is the fight. But Seth Rollins is so right. There's that gray area. When I invited friends to my shows who'd never seen professional wrestling before and they came to watch an indie show, and I got the reaction of like, was that real? Maybe that was real. That's that suspending of disbelief. That's that drawing them out of what they think they know and getting them deeply invested in the actual match and storyline. I'm pretty sure Seth Rollins and CM Punk hate each other. I don't like CM Punk. I understand why Seth Rollins doesn't like him. He bailed on WWE, talks shit about WWE, now comes back to WWE and gets everything he wants. Why would Seth Rollins appreciate her like that? There's some real bad blood and real hatred there. But based on this show, you would think everything is scripted, everything is planned, it's all going according to this and that and whatever. And maybe it is. WWE does a really good job of coordinating and planning and scheduling and scheming and doing all these types of things to make you get sucked into what they're actually thinking, and then they try to suspend their disbelief from there. But you have these organic, natural moments, Austin 316, whatever the case may be, where things just happen. And that unpredictability creates the sense of realness, creates the sense of authenticity that fans can draw into. Now, if they watch this whole show and they think, oh, nothing is real, it's all planned, it's all fake, whatever it is, the documentary was cool, but I'm not interested in watching all of that on TV, then there's no sense for them to get drawn into the storyline. But if they really believe wholeheartedly that Seth Rollins does actually have some disdain, some real disdain for CM Punk, then they are going to get drawn into it because then they know it's just a little bit more real. There's some oomph behind it. There's a story to get invested in. That's where all of the magic happens in WWE. And Seth Rollins is a prime example, right? He had the Money in the Bank cash in 10 years ago. He had the Money in the Bank cash in like just recently. Those are the unpredictable moments that they don't want to see coming. His injury. Everyone thought he was injured. Why would you fake an injury? No, he's good. You have to have those sort of huge, massive type moments to keep fans drawn into saying, oh, anything can happen at any moment. Not everything is always going to be planned and not everything is fed to the dirt sheets. That's what makes it important. That's what makes the investment from the fans extremely important. So I'm just like Seth Rollins. I absolutely hate it. Again, I don't hate all of it, but I do hate it. Because it drives away that little doubt, that little seed of doubt, that little gray area that could live inside of every single fan's head that says, ooh, is that real? Do they really hate each other? I don't know, but I'm super invested now, and that's the point. And WWE might have taken that away from the fans, new fans, casual fans, old fans, by releasing this WWE Unreal series. But anyways, that's what I think about it. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I'd absolutely love to hear from you. Then like this video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. Lots of love. Cheers.